If the first victim of war is the truth, the second is often female. And the people who pick up the pieces are usually aid workers, as it is their health centers and safe spaces and camp programs that help women to work through the trauma of loss, displacement, and sexual violence. Funding for. If the first victim of war is the truth, the second is often female. And the people who pick up the pieces are usually aid workers, as it is their health centers and safe spaces and camp programs that help women to work through the trauma of loss, displacement, and sexual violence. Funding for. This work quite often features the U.S. government. U.S. global health funding has topped $10 billion in each of the past 3 years. But all that is now at risk, after President Donald Trump's decision to reinstate the so-called global gag rule, which will ban funding to any non-U.S. aid groups that offer abortion services or advice funded from other partners. As the cases below demonstrate, often the support given to these victims of war will have nothing to do with abortion. But because the provider might be linked to abortion advice elsewhere in the world, the life-saving programs they offer are in jeopardy. Without U.S. funding, some are likely to close by the end of the year. Gag and, through no fault of their own, women suffering the agonies of war will find themselves alone. Manash's story. Manash had been sex slave for Islamic militants Boko Haram for months when one of her kidnappers declared he wanted to marry her. She refused. She was already married with 6 children, although her husband had fled their home when she and her sister were abducted. Eventually, she escaped. As she sits in a quiet cubicle in Muna camp in Maiduguri with her baby son, the trauma Manash experienced shows in her movements and on her face, her head, her eyes, her strong hands, all seem heavy under the weight of what she went through in the Sambisa forest. Facebook, Twitter, Pinterest. Manash holds her baby at the safe space. Her neck is scarred from when a Boko Haram militant tried to behead her.